Don't you feel that AI is overthinking even the simplest queries recently? For instance, in ChatGPT or Grok, I tend to get more and more reasoning model outputs, even for simple queries that would previously get a good answer using the non-reasoning model. You know when the interface shows thinking longer for a better answer and allows you to interrupt for a quick response. It also happens with coding tools like Cursor, where the tools default to lots of reasoning and overthinking for simple tasks, thus breaking the tight iteration loop. This phenomenon is driven by the new routers that evaluate your request and choose whether to use thinking or not, but also over-optimization toward agentic behavior and long horizon tasks. Lots of people are encountering this issue. Andrzej Karpathy recently posted on X about the problem putting words on something I felt for a while. Quote, I'm noticing, due to, I think, a lot of benchmark maxing on long horizon tasks, LLMs are becoming a little too agentic by default, a little beyond my average use case. For example, in coding, the models now tend to reason for a fairly long time. They have an inclination to start listening and grabbing for files across the entire repo. They do repeated web searches, they overanalyze and overthink little rare edge cases, even in code that is knowingly incomplete and under active development, and often come back minutes later, even for simple queries. Basically, as the default starts to slowly creep into the ultra-think super agentic mode, I feel a need for the reverse, and more generally good ways to indicate or communicate intent, stakes, from just have a quick look, all the way to go off for 30 minutes, come back when absolutely certain. So it's a general problem. A recent paper explored the overthinking issue and came back with alarming results. The researchers asked a simple question: how models balance gathering new information and reasoning about the existing one. They call it the reasoning action dilemma, where models must choose between exploiting their own knowledge and exploring environments. They found out that reasoning models prefer their extended internal reasoning chains over environmental interaction, a phenomenon we define as overthinking. Researchers quantify overthinking with a 0 to 10 score from an LLM as a judge. From 0 to 3, it's good. The model properly interacted with the environment, or summarized progress but follows through with concrete actions. From 4 to 7, it starts to be concerning. Sometimes, the model over-relies on internal reasoning. It either does heavily planning but still takes some environmental actions, or might output multiple steps once, but then goes back to step-by-step interaction. From 8 to 10, it starts to be problematic. The model is completely lost in internal reasoning. It either gets stuck in endless theoretical discussions, takes multiple actions without waiting for results, or prematurely gives up based on internal predictions rather than actual feedback. They classify overthinking in 3 main patterns: analysis paralysis, endless planning with no action, rogue actions, firing off multiple commands at once when stressed, premature disengagement, quitting based on assumptions rather than trying. Finally, they validate the LLM scores using human experts, labeling a subset of samples, and found 0.8 correlation between the LLM and the experts, indicating a good data quality. Now about the methodology. The researchers chose SWE Bench Verified as their benchmark. It's a collection of GitHub issues from real open source projects that need to be fixed. This was perfect for studying overthinking, because those tasks require both sophisticated reasoning and continuous environmental interaction. The model must explore code bases, understand problems, test solutions, and validate their fixes through multiple iterations. They tested 19 different models spanning the entire spectrum of current AI capabilities. This incremental process involved generating 4K complete trajectories, where each model attempted to solve GitHub issues, with logs capturing every action, environment response, and reasoning step. Each trajectory was then scored for overthinking using the LLM we discussed before, assigning scores from 0 to 10 with detailed justifications. Importantly, the evaluator was blind to whether the solution actually worked, preventing outcome bias. The result was a clear negative correlation. Higher overthinking scores consistently predicted lower success rates across all model types. Reasoning models overthink 3 times more than regular models, And higher overthinking scores directly correlate with worse performance across all tested systems. Ironically, the solution is counterintuitive. Simply generating multiple solutions and selecting the one that overthinks the least achieves 30% better results while reducing computational costs by 43%. The research suggests that modern AI has become too good at reasoning, getting lost in their own thoughts, rather than engaging with reality, proving that sometimes thinking less actually leads to better outcomes. It almost has a philosophical meaning that transfers to humans. So empirically, it feels that AI models tend to overthink. The research article that we just saw confirms this feeling and showed that selecting solutions with the less overthinking leads to better performance. Even though the paper explores overthinking in the specific context of interaction with the outside world, it shows that models tend to over-rely on their internal chain of thoughts, also called reasoning. Chat applications and other AI tools lets you choose no reasoning models. But automatic modes suffer from overthinking as they rely on reasoning too much. So, have you also experienced model overthinking lately? Let me know in the comments. Let me a like or subscribe if you enjoyed this overthinking overview. It helps a lot. See you in the next one.